Top Democrats met with Trump administration officials on Capitol Hill Saturday for talks on a new coronavirus relief bill. After the meeting, both sides characterized the talks as productive, although they did not reach a deal. Here's some of what they had to say.
It's time to make a deal, and if we're going to be able to succeed in this, it's taking what started as probably the first day of a good foundation of productive discussions and building upon those, and until we reach an agreement hopefully in the next couple of days.
If there are a million people, million small businesses hurting, you don't compromise and say we're only going to help half of them. But on the other hand, we had really, it was the best discussions we've had so far.
For more on all of this, I want to bring in Siobhan Hughes. She's a congressional reporter for The Wall Street Journal. Siobhan, good to see you. So tell us, what are the top headlines that came out of today's meeting?
That tone that you highlighted was the most important headline. The fact that both sides were saying the talks were productive. The fact that staff is going to sit down tomorrow implies there is pencil being put to paper. The fact that there is a follow-up meeting on Monday. This is in no way to say that a deal is imminent within the next couple of days or so, but it's very clear that Republicans and Democrats are both feeling pressure as we head into the first week that $600 a week supplement is not going to be available. Also noteworthy, there was no detail that leaked out, and a lot of times when negotiations are going well, both sides will keep the detail close to their vest. So we could see some details emerge this week if, in fact, things are progressing as well as the leaders on both sides said.
That's a really good point, Siobhan. I was talking with Nancy Cordes, our congressional correspondent, yesterday about how it seemed like the closer we were getting to the election, the much more difficult it was for them to come up with an agreement because things had become so political. So that is, for people who like to read the tea leaves on Capitol Hill, such an important sign that you bring up. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell yesterday had claimed that negotiations were stalled because Democrats have been insisting on a, quote, massive tax cut for rich people in blue states. That's more of the rhetoric that we heard before today. So tell us more about what he's talking about, Siobhan, and are we hearing now that rhetoric really changing? Is that what you're saying?
Two things. Yes, I will say that we are hearing the rhetoric changing. You are referencing a tweet that the majority leader put out on Friday when negotiations were not going well. Things collapsed. Republicans offered a one-week extension of the $600 supplement to buy time for negotiations. Democrats rejected that. So we're past that. As a substantive matter, what Mitch McConnell was talking about was a $10,000 cap for people who itemize on the amount you can deduct in state and local taxes. That was a cap that helped pay for the 2017 tax cuts. It whacked people in states like New York and California with high property taxes. And so for Mitch McConnell, that was good politics to bring that up because a 2-year elimination of that cap is included in the House Democrats' passed bill. While good politics for him, especially in Kentucky where he's up for re-election, there's certainly no indication that that provision is the holdup to a broader deal.
And Siobhan, sometimes we get so deep into the politics of it, people forget the context of it, which is that more than 30 million unemployed Americans are suffering right now. More than a quarter of households have reported missing their rent or mortgage payments. Food insecurity has reached record numbers here in the United States, and the weekly $600 federal jobless benefit is now a thing of the past. How much do you think Congress is actually feeling that real urgency of the American people?
Congress is about to feel that real urgency in extremis this week with the removal of that $600 weekly supplement. In addition, it's also worth noting that on July 25th, a moratorium on evictions for properties backed by federal mortgages expired, and so renters have lost a key protection. There's no doubt that lawmakers on both sides are going to feel it. In fact, some of the hardest hit states are the red states, and so absolutely, no doubt, that's why you should be looking for a deal.
Let's hope that one of those comes soon for all those people who are suffering. All right, switching gears just a little bit, we also learned today that Arizona Democratic Representative RAÚL GRIJALVA has tested positive for COVID-19. What more can you tell us about that, Siobhan?
Mr. Grijalva is the 10th House lawmaker to either have tested positive or be presumed to have tested positive for the coronavirus. He was tested one day after being at a committee hearing with the Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert, who had declined to wear a mask and who later tested positive for the coronavirus. This is in no way to say that there is a causal relationship there. Mr. Grijalva certainly said that he could not blame anyone in particular, but he did say that it highlighted the need for everybody to be wearing masks and really taking all of the precautions that they could. In fact, after Mr. Gohmert's incident, after it became apparent he had contracted COVID, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi came out and said it was absolutely mandatory for people to wear masks on the House floor. It was no longer just a recommendation, and the Sergeant at Arms could, in fact, remove people. And so the fact that another high-profile figure has contracted the coronavirus is really a message to the entire country that this is a virus that spares nobody.
Yes, and we'll hope that Representative Grijalva and everybody who is suffering from COVID-19 gets well soon. Siobhan Hughes, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for lending us your insight. Congressional reporter for the Wall Street Journal.
You too.